What's up, YouTube? This is Big Mike. This video is a response to the ongoing debate between LeBron James and Michael Jordan that's going to continue and continue and continue for the duration of the summer and probably on till LeBron James retires. It's going to continue the hype that we'll see when it comes to news, the media. And since we live in a world where we're obsessed with statistics, I'm going to come back with some stats for you, all right? This is pertaining to the criticisms that I sometimes see with people when they criticize Jordan before the championship years. Why did his team lose? Why did they have losing records? And so forth and so forth. And this is my little response to it. This is just my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm correct. But I think I give a pretty good case for as to why Jordan's win totals in some of his earlier seasons may have been a bit lower than what you young bees might expect. All right. Now, first, let me state something. Right now in the NBA, there are 30 teams. 30 NBA teams. In the 1945 season, 30 years ago, Michael Jordan's rookie year, there were only 23 teams. So that should tell you right there that by there being fewer teams, some of those players who make the NBA now, because there's fewer roster spots and fewer teams, they wouldn't be in the NBA. They would be in what was called then the CBA. And only the best players would be in the NBA. Meaning that you would play superior competition day in and day out. And I want to show something. I'm going to show something right here on this image of MJ back during his rookie year. Now, this is a list of the teams that won 50 or more games during that year. There are only 5 teams that year that won 50 or more games. The Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Denver Nuggets. All right, contrast that to LeBron's rookie year. In LeBron's rookie year, 11 teams, 8 teams won 50 or more games. And just this past season, 10 teams won 50 or more games. Also, I want to state that just this past year, only 13 of the 30 teams had winning records. During LeBron's rookie year, only 11 of the 30 teams had winning records. During this particular season, 10 teams in 1945, 10 out of 23 teams had winning records. Now remember now, I only said 5 won 50 games. So what that's telling you is that night in and night out, back in the 80s, you played against superior competition. Even the teams that weren't that great were capable of beating you, including the Chicago Bulls. Because against these teams, the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Philadelphia 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, and Denver Nuggets, the Bulls post a 6-14 record, a losing record, but a respectable record considering that they were playing against championship level teams. Now, look right here, the Boston Celtics, the Bulls were 2-4. Uh, this might be a little bit hard to see, but this shows Michael's shooting percentages and his stats, overall numbers. He shot 52% against the Boston Celtics that year, 93% from the foul line, 32.5 points per game, 7.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists. All right. Now against the Lakers, he shot 50% from the field, 77% from the foul line. He only averaged 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. So I immediately suspected that because of the Lakers' up-tempo style, that Orlando Woolridge probably had a big games against them that year, and I was correct. Orlando Woolridge shot 65.6% that season against the Lakers and averaged 26.5 points per game. For the season, he averaged 22.9 points per game. Against the Sixers, the Bulls did not have any wins against them, but Michael shot 52% from the field, 92% from the foul line, 27.8 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Against the Milwaukee Bucks, and before I go further with the Milwaukee Bucks, I remember reading people saying, "Oh, Jordan couldn't even beat the Bucks during his rookie year. They lost to the Bucks." Well, you understand, this isn't the Bucks of today. All right, that Bucks team won 59 games that season. They were the second seed in the Eastern Conference. All right, this is the Bucks that had Sidney Moncrief, all right, and Terry Cummings, all right, and Marquise Johnson, the first MJ. All right, so this is a whole nother era, a whole different team. Against that team, the Bulls went 500. Jordan shot 50% from the field against that team, 88% from the foul line. He averaged 28.8 points. This is his rookie year, and he averaged 28 per game. 6.3 rebounds, 6.2 assists. Against the Denver Nuggets, the Bulls split that series. Jordan averaged 58% shooting against that team, 84% from the foul line. He averaged 26 points, 9.5 rebounds, 10 assists a game. I suspected also with a team like that, with that frenetic up and down pace, that Orlando Woolridge, probably being the open court player that he was, probably had a good series against that team that year. He did not play the second game of that season, but the first game he shot 60% from the field and scored 24 points. The second game, without Orlando Woolridge, Jordan posted 35 points, 14 rebounds, and 15 assists, posted a triple-double. And while LeBron James is truly one of the greatest players in NBA history, I think there's a lot of fallacies that are being told in the media. You know, people who I don't think, to be honest with you, I really don't think they watch basketball, and I don't think they really studied the game. A lot of these analysts on television. In short, I'm basically saying that throughout his career, Michael Jordan played against superior competition. Anybody who watched the 80s and 90s, any person who's not biased, can reasonably come to the conclusion that Michael Jordan played against better competition. Just the fact that, you know, LeBron has made the finals so often in the past few years, being in the Eastern Conference should tell you something. When the Eastern Conference was a little bit more competitive back in the 5-6 years ago, LeBron wasn't going to the finals every year. In fact, he did not go to the finals at all during his first tenure with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, except for that 1 year, he did not go to the finals on a regular basis. And also, like to state that these 5 teams, who were the best teams in the NBA that year, the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers would make the finals. You will see that Michael Jordan still played up to and sometimes even exceeding his season averages. And that was the hallmark of his career. Michael Jordan didn't just beat up on cellar dweller teams and basement teams and struggle against better teams, and analysts didn't gloss over the analysts didn't gloss over it and act like it doesn't happen. He didn't score 40 points against or 61 points against the Bobcats, but stink it up against the superior teams, and and people didn't point it out. Michael Jordan, with very few exceptions in his prime, was known for his efficiency. And one thing that has lost me with a lot of the LeBron fans is, for most of the time during the time when I was always on the, I guess, pro LeBron bandwagon, if you want to call it that. Really, I was just going against the Kobe bandwagon. But one of the things that we all agreed upon was LeBron was so much more efficient than Kobe. So what has lost me was during this finals, during this playoff run, where LeBron was uncharacteristically inefficient, people like myself get criticized for criticizing that. So for a guy to put up so many points per game in the finals but shoot under 40%, that's not good. That's not efficient at all. And another thing I want to state too, before I go, about LeBron's historic playoff run. Some of it has to also do with the fact that LeBron, during the finals and during his playoff run, a lot of his rebound numbers, since people want to bring up Will Chamberlain and how his numbers were inflated, some of LeBron's rebounding numbers were inflated because of the fact that he went up against some of the teams, particularly when it comes to my Atlanta Hawks, he went up against teams that were undersized. Some of the more undersized teams in the NBA. The Boston Celtics, the Atlanta Hawks, the Chicago Bulls after Pau Gasol went down, and the Golden State Warriors. Those are some of the smallest teams in the NBA. And of course, it helped for LeBron to average double-digit rebounds in this playoff run, although it's still impressive. But the fact that LeBron has not had a season yet averaging double-digit rebounds, yet Larry Bird was able to average 10 rebounds per game for his career, despite playing half his career with a bad back, it's telling to me. It's telling. LeBron is, like I say, a spectacular player, but I'm starting to sometimes wonder if he's a little bit at times overrated by some of his fans. This has been Mike Sewell. Thank you for listening.